Ah, cherry blossom season. A truly magical time for the DMV, and an absolute living hell for those of us who choose to live here. I understand that dealing with tourists is part of living in an interesting area, and I would say that the normal population of 5th graders who see the sights at this mall and then clog up the food court at this mall are totally fine, but the cherry blossoms turn it up to 11. The crowds make navigating anywhere near the National Mall a challenge, and metro escalators everywhere can be seen clogged up by people standing on the left. You stand on the right, you walk on the left. But the blossoms are undoubtedly beautiful, so my girlfriend and I decided to brave the chaos on a beautiful March Sunday during peak bloom. We felt it particularly important to go this year after hearing the unfortunate news that many of the trees were going to be cut down in order to rebuild the seawall around the tidal basin. Among the casualties would be local tree celebrity Stumpy, featured in last year's recap. To mark the occasion, I'd be using one of my few precious rolls of Fuji Pro 400H in the Mamiya 645. Additionally, I'd be finishing a roll of Push Tri-X in a Bessa R that was on loan to me. Thanks, Evan. I was taking it for a spin to see if I liked the rangefinder lifestyle. And I know, black and white's not exactly the most ideal choice for the task at hand, but sometimes you just gotta shoot what you have. The single biggest piece of advice I can give you if you're planning a trip to see the cherry blossoms is to take the metro. You can get off at the Smithsonian Station or L'Enfant Station, and it's only a short walk to the tidal basin. Don't try and drive in and then be surprised why you can't find parking. Everybody is trying to see these trees. Either metro or take a taxi. I promise this is the first and last time I'm taking the same composition in both color and black and white. In this scenario, I think I like the Tri-X a little bit better because I don't really think the color adds a whole lot. I don't really know what I was thinking taking this shot. I think it leaves a lot to be desired. Oh well, just another frame gone on a film that no longer exists. No biggie. DC food trucks were out in full force jockeying for position in order to sell you overpriced ice cream and boba. In fact, we almost saw these guys get in an actual fight over this parking spot. These guys do not mess around. And photographers of all sorts were out in full force. I even met a couple of fellow film addicts. The history of the Japanese cherry tree in Washington, D.C. is super interesting. I'm not going to recap it all right here, but my favorite fact is that the original gift of 2,000 trees from Tokyo had to be burned to the ground because they were found to be infested with invasive insects and nematodes.
貴様の拳などかほどにも効かんわい。お前はもう死んでいる。何？もうは匠でひぜぶ。
Trying to get a good picture without mountains of people walking through your frame can require a lot of patience, but sometimes it really does pay off. This was supposed to be a double exposure, and honestly, I have no idea how I messed it up. If you twist this switch on the Mamiya to multi, you're supposed to be able to reset the shutter without advancing the film in order to take multiple exposures, and I thought I did that, but turns out not. I once again failed to use the Mamiya correctly. Shocker. Here's an artist rendering of the effect I was going for. After our loop around the tidal basin, we decided to head home with immense hope for the images waiting to reveal themselves from within the Mamiya. All things considered, the crowds weren't too bad that day, and I got a few images that I really do think were worthy of burning a roll of Pro 400H. I have no idea what I'm going to shoot with my remaining 6 rolls, but hopefully I can do it justice, because Fuji is still refusing to touch any film that's not Instax. I hope you come back to us one day. Bring it back, you cowards. Give the people what they want. As for the Bessa R, I went into my test roll as rangefinder curious and came out a rangefinder enthusiast. I totally get now why people love their small size and simple operation, especially for street photography. And I only managed to forget to remove the lens cap twice during the roll, so I'd call that a win. Make sure you subscribe to see if I cave to the YouTube meta and start pumping out Leica M6 videos. Now, as for the Tri-X push 2 stops, call me crazy, but I think some of these shots have a little too much contrast. So I think I'm gonna stick with HP5 Plus for my black and white pushing needs. As sad as it is that a lot of these trees are no longer with us, it was abundantly clear during our walk around the tidal basin that the seawall was in desperate need of repair. There was water all over the sidewalks and some areas were completely inaccessible, although the ducks seemed to be having a great time. I'm glad I got to immortalize these beautiful trees during their final bloom, and hopefully it will allow them, and Stumpy in particular, to live on in our hearts. The image of the Stumpy mascot certainly won't be leaving my head anytime soon. Terrifying.